Welcome to today's Global Connections program. I'm Bill Miller. What is the International Federation for Peace and Sustainable Development? What is the Federation doing to focus attention upon empowering women and providing leadership skills for the youth, as well as combating human trafficking? My guest today is going to bring us up to date on this very interesting organization. My guest today is Sally Kader. Sally Kader is the co-founder and current president of the International Federation for Peace and Sustainable Development. Sally, welcome to today's Global Connections program.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you. I'm honored to be here with you today.
I appreciate you being with me. Let's start right at the top. What is the International Federation for Peace and Sustainable Development? When was it formed? Why was it formed?
Mm-hmm. Well, we are 16 years old. We were formed in October 2001, and a few people got together in Washington, D.C., and here at the UN headquarters, since we are a UN family, and we started the International Federation for Peace, but it was at that time called the U.S. Federation for Middle East Peace, and it was created in October 2001.
Okay, and that's why your website is www.usfmep.org.
Correct.
Okay, now we got it. I thought that it didn't match up there for some reason. Well, that's great. Now you have, your main mission is to focus on 5 pillars, I guess, or 5 areas of interest. Let's go through each of those 5 areas and maybe give us some examples of some programs or projects that you have underway in each. And I just pulled these off your website. You know them by heart. One is women's empowerment.
Women empowerment is extremely important to us. We have, obviously I'm a woman, and I believe in that. So we have problems throughout the world, as we all know, and women are the base core of the family and of any country and everywhere. So have not been equality for women all over the world, so we all know that. So we have a program at the United Nations, as you know, every year in the month of March, and then we have the conference on the status of women, and this is what we do during that conference. We've invited people from all over the world to come and show their grievances here at the UN headquarters in New York and talk about their problems. And we have laws, as you know, to protect women and give them their rights. Most women around the world do not know there's such thing as laws that was created by the world and the countries here at the UN. So they're all ignorant of that. So this is what we do. We try to bring the subject, and every year we have a theme, and we bring the subject matter to organize something, and we have invited speakers from all over the world and to come here at the UN headquarters, and I've hosted them and worked with them and so on, and that's why women empowerment is extremely important to us.
Now you mentioned about laws and regulations, that type of thing. Do you use the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights as sort of the underpinning, the foundation for this, to guarantee rights to everyone, to women, men, and everybody else on the planet? Do you use that as well as other international treaties and perhaps domestic laws within their own countries?
Yes. And as I said to you before, our organization, we are non-government, non-partisan, non-profit, and we follow all the rules and laws of the UN and what the UN stands for and what the UN had put together in case for whatever treaties and whatever conventions that we have. And the women is part of this. And of course, it all comes under human rights. And so this is why it's the basis of everything we do. We have equality in everything. So we do women equality, and we have a CEDAW, the Convention for Protection of Women and Against Violence and all form of discrimination. We also do the same thing with the youth. We have that, and we have the right of the child, which I'm also part of that committee, as I am with the women, obviously. And so we have several conventions at the UN that I have been very involved and part of and privy to many things that happens within those conventions. So yes, it is all under human rights.
Exactly right. And they apply to all of us. Someone, former Assistant Secretary General on here, said he defines human rights as if you're born, you have them. It's as simple as that.
Absolutely.
It's not difficult to figure it out.
No.
You were talking about women and how important they are, and they truly are the epicenter of, well, the epicenter of the family, the epicenter of the society to a large degree. And of course, there are not always equal rights for women all around the world. The United Nations, when they developed the Sustainable Development Goals that are going to run from 2015 to 2030, Development Goal number 5 is to empower women. Now you're working on empowering women. Are there other things that you're looking at doing to help women to have their rights, to develop their own, to be involved in economically, politically, socially, culturally, in all different types of activities? Are there other things that you're looking at doing or you would like to do?
We are doing already and doing all the above that you
really?
had
Okay.
mentioned, yes.
All right.
One particular one that is Security Council Resolution 1325 is part of, but it came after. And this is where we really, really feel very wholeheartedly in educating women on. That particular Security Council resolution is very important, especially for countries that are in wars or went to war or after war. Women are not included, women are not consulted, women are not part of the building or rebuilding or decision making in any shape or form, and that is wrong. Since women, we are the one who suffer the most from wars, and the children suffer from war. Women have to be inside in the decision making in that particular circle in every country. So this is something that we are advocating very, very strongly. And we've done, we taught that in different countries in the Middle East. We brought all the region countries around and we try to educate. So education is very, very important.
It certainly is. Now, a moment ago you mentioned also youth and your involvement with youth. One of your areas of emphasis is to help them develop leadership, is that correct? How do you work with youth, and who are some of the groups that you're working with?
Yeah. Well, youth is obviously our future. We have to educate them and teach them, or to take care of each other and like each other and be diverse as much as they can, and not teach them the bigotry that our generation or the generation before us have forced on them, from wars to color to everything. The youth, we found that if we come to them and give them a voice, and this is what we've done, we gave them a voice. We do an event every year, again here at the UN, and I do it in different countries around the world. We have for also sports for peace and development. When children are together in any sport activity, they are working towards sports. They are not judging each other like, you're black and you're white and you're Muslim and you're Jewish, and they don't care. They're working together and playing together. And it's fun for them. And they build friendship and relationships. So we've done that. We've gone, last few years ago, we went to Egypt and we donated soccer balls for the areas that are poor areas and so on. And I've also invited athletes with me, and I've taken athletes to different countries, and NFL players and basketball players. And so we have created that. Of course, we teach them also about to dream big and to dream that anything is possible through education, and if you can get educated. Because we believe so much in education, I am now in the process of building 2 schools in the north of Lebanon because of the Syrian children have no schooling. Few million people have no schooling. The countries are not equipped. They don't have enough schooling for the refugees. Hence, we have all these refugees. Children, we're creating a generation that is uneducated and have no hope, and they're not going to be leaders anywhere. So this is very important to start teaching the children when they are very young. On the other side, we have been hosting Model United Nations, and I have hosted Model UN for the past few years, and they come from all over the world. The kids come, and I hosted them here at the General Assembly. To date, I've hosted about 15,000 students. And it's very exciting to see them, and they study all the UN, and they vote, and they do all of the things that the diplomats do or the leaders do. And then at the end of it, before they graduate, and I speak with them, and then I make them promise me that they will be good to each other, and when they grow older, not to hate and not to look at each other in a different way and because of color or gender. And they promise, they really promise, and sometimes I tear. And especially when after we finish, they come and they thank me for, you know, my leadership or my speech, and they take pictures, and they're so eloquent when they talk, and you see them. They of course Model UN, you know what that is, and they vote and they lobby and they do all of the things. So this is some of the ways that we have done to teach the kids to be better leaders.
And you may see some of the young people back at the UN representing their country someday.
We hope
or
that.
Being CEOs of corporations, or involved in a lot of different activities that can help create this better world. You know, we're talking about the Middle East, and when you were talking about, you mentioned Lebanon, you were born in Lebanon, and I think of that as a somewhat turbulent area of the world. The UN has a United Nations interim force in Lebanon. There we see that the Israeli-Palestinian imbroglio has gone on since really 1948 and come right down to it, but especially after 1967. As you interact with the leaders from that area of the world, everyone wants to come to a peaceful agreement, I'm sure. Are there any ideas, new ideas on what can be done to help broker peace between those two parties?
Well, the UN have been very obviously vocal vis-a-vis the countries that they come and vote if there is something. It has never been implemented. So when at that time when they came up and they said we have to have two states and this one and Israel and Palestinian, it was never done. It was never implemented, and then it started getting worse and worse over the years. Today and yesterday is the anniversary of the 50 years of occupation of Palestinian territory. And that is not since 48, this is the other occupation on top of that. So it is right now going on in conference room 3, actually. A lot of people came, and it started yesterday and so on. And they're all talking about how do we end this. I can tell you, my own opinion, it really is a shame on all of us that we see injustice done in different parts of the world, and we don't implement what we already know there's laws for. That would be my only solution, because you can never please everybody, but you gotta start somewhere. And so if we don't do it, then we will be still in the state. We cannot finish that. So this would be my recommendation, I say, is that what the world have voted on, we should implement.
Well, you're watching Global Connections Television, which is a privately funded, independently produced program. The opinions expressed on Global Connections are solely those of the moderator and his guests. We would invite our viewers to go to our website at www.globalconnectionstelevision.com to view previous programs. Also, if you are involved with any type of media outlet, be it a PBS or community access television station, or perhaps a university that has an intra-campus television hookup, or you just have a website and you'd like to share our programs with the community, please feel free to do so. You can go in, download the programs, because Global Connections Television is provided as a public service, free of charge, at no cost, to help us better understand how international issues do impact our lives no matter where we live. Today we're talking with Sally Kader, who is the co-founder and the president of the International Federation of Peace and Sustainable Development, and she's bringing us up to date on what they're doing to try to create and help create this better world. Sally, we were talking about empowering women. We were talking about the Middle East, especially in providing assistance to really help develop leadership for the youth. One other area you're focusing on is Interfaith Dialogue, which is, I think, extremely important because faith-based groups play a critical role in every society, doesn't matter where they are. What are you doing in that particular area, and how do you define interfaith dialogue? Maybe I misdefined it, I'm not sure. Excuse me.
Well, you know, religion is so sensitive to people. They can be scientists, they can be whatever, PhDs, and very successful. When it comes to religion, we convert into, you know, believers and so on. And all religions is created to educate the human beings and to teach them right from wrong. So I believe that is a big issue, because people, out of ignorance, they hate each other. Everybody thinks they have a monopoly on God. In my humble opinion, God created all of us. If he wanted only one religion, he wouldn't have made others. If we wanted one color, he wouldn't have brought all of us. So how can we say that? To be a religious person, you have to love everyone and everything, including animals, plants, other human beings, because they are created by God, same creator. So as simple as that may sound, a lot of people don't look at it this way. So this is what we have done. We created a safe platform, which is here at the United Nations. And I invite people from different religious background, religious leaders, and come together and stay here at the UN and talk to each other and build on the commonality, because they're all the same. I had to go and study all the religions, and so I will be more informed and better informed in what is your religion, his religion, every religion. Fascinating, but it's all the same. It all leads to the same place. It all teaches you the same thing. I've never seen a religion where it says, go kill someone. There is no such thing. No matter who says that to you, it is wrong. It is just a man-made phenomena that they will say it to the ignorant people. So this is what we have done, and we've been very successful, I have to say. The first big Interfaith Dialogue I did, it was here. I've invited the Holy See, the Archbishop at that time, Meliore, and I invited a Muslim also leader, and that was in 2005 or around that time. And they had asked, you know, the audience, you know, everybody was asking, and they asked the Archbishop, how come this was never done before? And he said, because it was taboo, and it takes Sally with her ideas and her, you know, whatever. He's described me, obviously kindly, that I do. And you gotta do that. You have to think outside of the box, if you will, and because people want to know, people want to learn. So we've done that now every year. I hosted 15 rabbis and 15 imams, Muslim imams and rabbis, you know, Jewish rabbis, from 13 European countries in 2009. And everybody thought I was crazy. They all thought I was crazy. I hosted them right here in Conference Room 8, and they all were together, and they sat together, all these different languages. And it was a stickler for me because I was hosting them for breakfast. And I figured, you know, Muslims and Jews have kosher food. They both don't eat pork. They both, you know, are similar in diet. Well, we had some extra regulations. And so that was my only challenge, is the food. But everything else
everything fell into place except the food.
It was amazing. It was an amazing experience, I have to tell you. Of course, at that time, we had someone from Ban Ki-moon's office, because he was traveling. He sent someone to be with us and attend this. And it was extremely successful. But I was like a kid in a candy store because I couldn't believe it. They were all together, you know, wanting the same thing. So it works. And I've done, of course, Buddhist-Muslim dialogue. I've done Hindus. And I've hosted big Buddhist leaders, Hindu leaders, had women also. We do the women spearheaded Interfaith Dialogue for women, and we do the 5 religions also. And it's always successful. People want to know. And people, once you educate yourself, you know that we are all the same.
Exactly. When you have these interfaith dialogues, you bring these religious leaders together, do you have a final package or a set of recommendations, or do you have, if people go to your website, will they be able to read about what happened, or do you follow up later on, or how does that work?
We do follow up, and but you cannot see it on my website. We are redoing our website, so you might not find everything for the time being. It's going still, but we're updating everything. But yes, we do follow up, and every year we keep, because people want to know, people want to learn, and we want to see what they have done with each other, if they have programs together, and so on. But from our part, we have done, because we believe into the dialogue with interfaith and interreligious, we've done that for youth. We brought them together and to speak also. And that was extremely successful. We did it here. And all these kids are very, very eloquent speakers because they're speaking from the heart. Most of the youth, you will find also that they're not into religion as much anymore. And so you see them say that my parents are this way or that way or so on. But yes, we do follow up on that.
Well, in our last 35 seconds or so, the hardest question, what would you like to see your federation do in the future? As you look over the horizon, do you have 1 or 2 great ideas that you want to implement?
Wow, we have a lot of ideas that we would like to.
That's even better.
It's just mostly we are educational, and we are all over the world, literally. We are 100% volunteer organization, like 99%. So we have people that work with us all over the world, and the good-hearted people, they really want to make a difference. We have programs with the youth we are doing, and the schools that we would like to do and finish for the Syrian refugees. I've worked in Kenya with the orphanages there. I've worked with different parts of the world in different capacities with youth and education and women, all these things that I'm telling you about. But I would like to have more people get more engaged, you know, care enough to be able to do even a little dent, because it takes all of us to be able to make a difference and shift in this world from this mentality of hate and bigotry and war. You cannot change everybody's mind alone. We need all of us. Just stop and think for a minute. You know, we're all coming and we're just on a train and we're gonna die. So we're taking nothing with us. So we have no else to go anyway before, when we are still here. One planet we are in, and this is this earth. So let's be good to each other. Let me be able to help you so you can help me and help each other. And enjoy the few days we're here.
Exactly.
We have nowhere else to go.
We have no place else to
No.
go. We come in empty, we leave empty.
That's
and
it.
that is, we know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
There's no getting around it. Well, Sally Kader, it sounds like you're doing some really important work and some very interesting work. And of course, we are always delighted to have you to bring us up to date on the exciting things that you're doing. But keep up the good work. And I want to thank you so very much for a very interesting and a very informative program.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
I'm Bill Miller. Thank you for joining us today on Global Connections Television.